I think of significance as significant statistical significance, meaning it deviates from norm or expectation. And if you've joined here today, you are deviating from norm or expectation. You're not traveling with the masses. That's not what you want to do. You want to do something different in the world. And so significance is that deviation, which means that the people collected here are a bunch of deviants for good in the world. So that's the deviant part, the significance part. And then if you look at significance is also, when we look at significant impact, impact, again, from my perspective, is from a science perspective, impact is a force exerted on something. Don't you want to be a force in the world? That significant force in the world. Well, that's significant impact. And we all are striving for something more, something bigger, just maybe a quantum leap in what you see in the world, because you see the world differently than the rest of the population. So that's what significant impact is. So thank you for being here. So how do you build that significant impact? I have a framework in significant impact, and there's 4 components here. The first one is you got to hone that superpower inside of yourself. You got to know who you are and what those superpowers are. Hone that talent that you are in the world. And I think about it as a superpower because you are unique. You are a unique person in the world. The DNA in you brought you into this world to contribute something very different. And that superpower isn't like a generic thing, like I'm really good with people, or I work really hard. I mean, there's a lot of people who work really hard and good with people. But part of looking at significant impact is knowing what your unique combination of talents and strengths and being able to articulate that. So we work on that in this community. The second piece is to live into that significant story that you have. Part of it is the past that you lived into, collecting those stories of your past. And some of us that have a little bit of gray hair here, man, we've got some great stories. And if you're getting gray hair, you've got some great stories. And if you're 21, you've got some great stories. So part of that is to build those stories from our past, live into the present story we're in as well. So how do we live into our present story fully with that superpower that we are? And then part of this is the future story. What are we creating? What's that news flash 20 years from now that says, oh, Patrick Mosher, bang, news flash. What's the story we're living into? So those are all the pieces of living into your significance story, something that's different. Hey, stories are how the ancients would share their wisdom around the campfires. So we need to build those significant stories. The third part is now that you've got that talent inside, you've built up those stories, now activate that network. That's activating it within yourself, but also how do you activate it within the people in your circle, but also activate that significant network in the world, in your community. Whatever that's important for you, what network are you trying to activate? When I think about activation, that word, it's like I connect with people and their lights turn on and the light between us turns on. That's what activating a network is. And that's a big part of creating that significant impact. Reaching people you may not even know that you're touching. Oh, that's significant impact. And the fourth component is to fulfill that life mission that you have. You have that life mission inside of you saying, as long as I have a breath inside of me, I've got work to do. So that's your life mission, the thing that draws you and pulls you into the world, the thing that makes you jump out of bed every Monday morning to jump into the world and do what you're here to do. And that could be playing with your kids, playing with your grandkids. That could be your life mission, which is awesome. So here's the four components of the significant impact. And then looking at this all gives you that significant impact, that extra push that you need. And I look at these as rollers in a way to get to that significant impact. And those rollers, If one of those rollers is smaller than the other ones, it kind of controls how much significant impact you can have. I'm a geek, I get it. I'm the engineer here, a chemical engineer by trade. So, I get geeky with models like this, but if your significant network isn't where it needs to be, that's your limiting factor for your significant impact. You need to activate that. If your superpower isn't really well articulated, well, you've got a generic brand out there, and that's the thing you need to work on. So in Significant Impact, we meet every month to work on these 4 components. When we do these things really well, wisdom is exchanged. And I love that. And I'm just going to give you a brief definition of wisdom. Wisdom is the soundness of act or decision based on knowledge, experience, and good judgment. You might want to write that one down because that's such a cornerstone of what we do here. Wisdom is the soundness of act or decision based on knowledge, experience, and good judgment. Oh, that's so good. So when we do these things really well, we generate that wisdom, and that wisdom is exchanged in our networks. It's exchanged through our stories, our superpowers in it. Our life mission is happening, and boom, our significant impact is happening.